and I had nothing else to fall back on because everyone thought I was going to Wigan.
Yeah.
And just luckily for me, is we won the Six Nations that year. We got a Grand Slam, and then I was getting offers from everybody.
Shaun, how are you doing, my man?
Not so bad, thank you. How's yourself?
I'm good, mate. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on this podcast. I know you're a busy man, and
My pleasure.
did you drive? You didn't drive down today, did you?
No, I came a couple of days ago.
A couple of days ago.
From France, yeah. Because there's only one or two flights a week, you see, so it's impossible to have a flight every day.
Yeah, fair enough. And you'd been you did a coaching clinic, was that right, the other day?
I did a little bit of coaching last night with some under 15s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty handy too. I thought there was the land speed was good, and sort of understand when to contest the ball and when not to. So yeah, they just need to keep practicing.
That's the way, mate. That's the way. Well, like I said, thank you so much for coming on. But I'm really intrigued, I suppose, and I said just before we come on the podcast, but I'm intrigued in general about your career, and then how you kind of converted into Union and the journey you've been on for this. So there's a lot to go through. Looking on your background of your playing history and like the awards you've won, Man of Steel, the Challenge Cups for Wigan, and you know you've got London Broncos, Bradford Bulls, and you've got Balmain Tigers on there. But when I was looking at it, I looked at your career over the years you played for Wigan, which is an exceptional one. You went over to Balmain Tigers in that season, is that right?
Yeah, but what used to happen, because it was a winter season,
yeah,
we played in the winter, not in summer like they do now in Super League. So people you're allowed to play in the summer, our summer, in Australia.
Yeah.
Then come back and play the whole winter again. So it was very taxing.
Yeah.
But financially it was
smart.
It was good. And also it was a chance to better yourself as a player, because, you know, I think most people would say the NRL is even though recently a lot of the world champions have come from Wigan, St Helens, who have been pretty successful. But, you know, there's no doubt, I think I came back a better player, even though I got suspended and I had a nasty injury over there as well. So just being around in great players like Wayne Pearce, Steve Roach, Benny Elias, great names from the 80s and 90s. And having a chance to, I played in a grand final. Unfortunately, we didn't win. Lost in the last couple of minutes, but it was. I definitely came back a better player.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say those names, Benny Elias, Blocker Roach, like tough players and well renowned over there. Do you? Obviously, I can tell from as your coaching background, you have a lot of drive in you. Is that one of your key things when you was a player? Like you're just always driven, always trying to improve.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has to be like that, really. I think also the fact that my father was always pressuring me as well, a good sort of pressure. Maybe some people it would have broke, but it didn't break me, and it obviously made me stronger. And you know, sometimes, as I say, pressure it brings the best out of you, or it breaks you. And for me, it definitely brought the best out of me.
Again, now my brain's just thinking all the time now to what you just said, but you have like these obviously naturally talented players. You have them talented players who work hard on top of that. And then when they get into these like grand finals, these pivotal moments, it's only certain players who can kind of turn up in them and not let the pressure get to them. Do you think that's something that you had like it's like a natural to someone, or is it something you can kind of work and lean into with those
No,
days?
you can definitely improve it. There's no doubt about it. I think so. You know, people say some players are big game players and some players are not. I kind of disagree with that. I think you can improve, because I remember my biggest game at first was at Wembley when I was 17, and I was the youngest player ever to play at Wembley. And did they have the best of games? I don't think so. You know, whereas a year later, I went back with a Wigan team who was probably more talented Wigan team, and we happened to win. And I definitely think I played better the year after because of the experience of the year before. And my attitude going into the whole game was, it's just all about rugby.
Yeah.
Don't bother looking at don't bother gazing at the Wembley Twin Towers, and dreaming about, I've been doing this since I was a kid, I wanted to do this since I was a child and all that. That's the worst thing you can do, in my opinion. You're there on business. All that sort of stuff is for your family, for me, because you're there to do your job. And I used to always, Warren used to always, because I'd had such a lot of success as a young player, whenever a young guy came in to like a George North to make his debut at a young age, Warren would always ask me to have a little bit of a word with him, and I would say, during the anthem and stuff like that, I think it's really important that you focus on rugby, because all the emotion and stuff like that, that's for your family.
Yeah.
That's for your mum and dad. They've supported you all them years, and your uncles who maybe took you to rugby or whatever, or your aunties or whatever. And but you're there on business, and you don't want to have a one career, one cap, Wales career. Yeah. And if you have a really bad match, you may be only having a one cap Wales career, and I'm not saying that. I'm sure there's some really, really top players who've only had one cap. You know what I mean? Maybe at times when there was so many just talented players in that position. But I always, as I said, Warren would always ask me to have a word with him, and just remember, the anthems and all stuff like that. It's for your family. Really, it's for you a little bit as well, but don't get too carried away, because trust me, you could be suing, because in 2 or 3 minutes you need to make your first tackle. Yeah, you need to catch the ball first. Someone might put it up and under on you, and it's swirling in the wind. So concentrate on rugby. Yeah,
that's a true one. And you said something then though, like that experience of how you've been there before, and then you pass on to people like George North. I think of those people who are like with dads who are quite driven in them and leave a massive impact. So your likes of Andy Farrell to Owen Farrell, and you have in the NRL now with Penrith Panthers, you have Ivan Cleary to Nathan Cleary. They have this clutch moment in these games where it's as if they flick a switch and it's rugby mode. They don't get hyped up by things. And I think having that mentor or someone in your life that can keep you grounded is very important.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be your dad though.
No, it don't have to be your dad.
It can be a coach.
Yeah.
Everyone has somebody. Normally, everyone has somebody special in their life. If you make it to international level in any sport, who's helped you somewhere along the way, and that grounding experience is it definitely helped me.
Of course it has. Look at, when you look at your achievements and to play, how long you had played, and with rugby, there's a lot of injuries involved in rugby you have to overcome as well on the journey. It's not just turn up on a Monday train and get through it. It's like as you get older, you pick up niggles and you keep going.
Well, I had an injury when I was 21, and
what was that?
I had a knee injury.
Cruise shit or
no? It was I twisted my knee in Papua New Guinea. It was 5 minutes into the Great Britain first Great Britain tour. All my life I've been training to try to get on the Great Britain tour, and because I put the wrong boots on. I put boots on with studs on, normal studs. I should have put boots on with, much smaller studs.
Like a mouldy
studs, that's the one I'm trying to think of. I jumped up in the air, put my foot down, twisted. After 5 minutes, my tour was over. And I went back. Obviously, I had to have surgery. And I remember one of the surgeons saying, "Oh, you'll only play two out of 3 games with this, with your knee. It's not very good, And I just thought, I'll show you.
That's a good.
Never missed a game with it.
Fair play.
I did. I had a lot of pain.
I bet.
A lot of pain. Particularly when you're playing 2-3 games a week, which we did at times. But if you do your rehab, if you do your rehab and you do it religiously, it helps a lot. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And because I remember when I first did it, I wouldn't do my rehab properly, and then I started doing it properly, and the improvement was like immediate.
Was it someone that was keeping you accountable to it, or was it just something like a flick in your head that went, "I got to look after this knee"?
I started doing more weights on it.
Yeah.
I wasn't probably doing quite enough weights. And funny enough, I've since learned that if you have an injury to your left leg, you can't listen. I didn't believe it at first, but it's true, because I asked a really top physio recently. I said, and if you got an injury to your left leg, if you work your right leg, some of that thing actually keeps your left leg strong. Right. And I was, is that serious? And the physio told me, no, it's 100% true. He said, you won't get it any stronger, but it will keep the strength. And that's a really good tip for anybody who's had a long-term injury, I think, because keep working the other leg.
Yeah.
And the leg, what the problem is, obviously you got to work that as well.
Yeah.
But it will definitely help it to recuperate quicker. It's
definitely true, because I've heard that stories like that science behind it, because I've done 3 cruciates on this right knee, and they're long-term injuries, but I know the work you had to do in this leg, because the muscle fades away so quickly.
Oh, unbelievable.
When you start building this one, you start to transfer over, but they're long injuries, and good that you're doing that stuff. But I suppose, Shaun, as well, like, for yourself, where did the movement of going into coaching, was it always something you wanted to do? Yeah, it was always something I wanted to do. Even from being like 21, I would write things down, patterns of play, certain tactics. Most of it was in rugby league, if I'm honest. Yeah. Right. And then I always remember my mum in 1995, when rugby union started going professional. My mum said to me, "You need to start studying rugby union." She said it's going to be very big. And this was in 1995. My mum was a bit of a visionary. I was going to say, that's impressive. She's a bit of a visionary in that, she didn't have a great education or anything like that, but she was very, very intelligent. And so I did start studying it, union, obviously on TV, watching, then the World Cup was in South Africa around about that time, so I started watching, obviously Jonah was killing it at that time. South Africans are doing really good. They were doing a sort of a blitz defence, and because I was saying, someone said to me, "Hey, would you stop that Jonah Limmer?" I said, "Well, stop him getting ball. Just get up. You got to get out really high, really quickly. Stop the pass from the centre to the winger, because when he gets ball, obviously it's not game over, but I mean he's a very difficult man to tackle. Yeah. So the best thing would be rush quick and cut the supply off to him, and that's what South Africa kind of half did. Well, they did do it in the final, because I actually watched it and studied it, and then. Obviously, years later, Warren Gatlin came to Wasps, and he said, "I want to change the defensive system." And it was Warren who brought it in, and he said, "I want to do this blitz style defence." And I said, "What do you mean by blitz?" He said, I said, "What do you mean, like umbrella style defence?" He said, "Yeah, that's another word for it, like you know what I mean." And I said, "Oh, we used to do that at Wigan." He said. I said, because everyone thinks it's always been 10 yards in rugby league. It's not. It was only 5 yards up till 1992. You only went back 5 metres. And even before that, you only went back 2 or 3 metres if you go all the way back to 50s and 60s. Why? Just because so it was more like rugby union. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, no. Everyone thinks that it's always been 10 yards. It's not. It was 5 metres when I first played for Wigan, and for the first 10 years played for Wigan. And we would rush up on the outside and turn the defence back inside, and I said to Warren, was very keen on bringing in the system, and the rest is history, really. That team. So I wanted to ask as well, how did it come across to going to London Wasps? Was it? I have to double check. Were you there first before Warren, or was Warren there first? I got an offer from the big reason I wanted to go to London Wasps was one was Lawrence Delalio. Because I knew he was a good guy, a good character, and he was a warrior. I had a son living in London, right, who I wanted to be close to, and I got offered a 2-year deal, head coach of a rugby league team. I only got a 1-year deal for less money at London Wasps for only a 1-year deal, and I took the gamble. Took the 1-year deal, and obviously
a guy called Nigel Melville gave me the opportunity. He was a real visionary as regards. He was probably one of the best eye for a player. Because a lot of that, the players that Warren came in and coached, obviously, and myself, etc. A lot of those players were already at Wasp.
Yeah.
Because Nigel was very, very good eye for a player. And then what we did, I think, what Warren did in particular was took the professional level into it and brought in this rush defence, brought in a bit more pattern for the attack, about the strength and conditioning.
Yeah,
we was miles ahead of everybody else. Well, I won't say miles ahead. I think we was on a level which other teams probably definitely got to later.
Yeah.
And obviously we had some top players. I mean, you can't do it without players.
No.
I don't care how good a coach you are. You know, you can be the greatest coach of all time, but unless you've got the players, and we did have that, and a lot of that was down to Nigel Melville.
Yeah.
But the professionalism that Warren brought in, without a shadow of a doubt, helped the team to, you know, we obviously went on to win 3.
Yeah, that team was unbelievable.
4 premierships and 2 Anakin Cups. And the Anakin Cup, particularly in them days, was definitely the hardest trophy to win.
Yeah. That I remember, obviously, that game, the final where Rob Howley scored that try in the corner. But that, looking at that team, just off the top of my head, you had the hooker, I believe, was it Leota?
Yeah.
I used to love watching that guy play. You had Simon Shaw.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking, Lawrence Delalio, Rob Howley, the fly half there, and like, was it King?
Yeah, Alex King.
And then winger Josh Lucy, and then the back line as well in particular. Just so many unbelievable players, but the way that you boys played was unbelievable to watch as well. It was just like you just said. Then there was a level to it at that stage, and you guys were just.
I think what we did very well, and Warren was very good at that, and so were the strength and conditioning guys. And I think I have a little bit of input because of we're kind of used to playoffs in rugby league, whereas rugby union, it was a new thing when the players first came in, and we actually got criticised so heavily. Well, you don't deserve to be champions. I'm like, well, everyone knew the rules before the competition started. So yeah, I think what we were very good at was peaking at the end of the season.
Yeah. How do you? So that's an interesting one. How do you define? As a coach, do you know how do we peak this team to get them just right, just yet? Because then you're kind of holding the leash on them until that stage, or you're pulling them back.
Well, it's you're not pulling them back in matches, obviously, but you have to realise you're going to lose a game or two along the way. If you go to Leicester Tigers, a great team, and you might give a load of some lads, some guys who've been pushing for first team chance, and so you give them a match. That's what Warren was very good at. He always kept everybody kind of involved.
Yeah.
In throughout the whole season, we knew from my league experience and from Warren being in the Southern Hemisphere, etc., that the big games are won at the end of the season. They're not won in the middle of the season. And we're pretty good at that.
Yeah. That relationship you've got with Warren, though, like, where did it obviously stem from? Because you guys have done some amazing things, won some amazing competitions. Was it an instant click with you guys, or was it just built over time?
I think he took a big gamble on me. Not with Wales, because by that time I'm double European champion, and, etc. But I'd say definitely with the Wasp, and I don't know. I think I saw a bit of loyalty in me, and so. And the fact that, I could coach attack and defence. My happiest times were probably coaching, just in pure coaching, was probably at Wasps when I was involved in attack and defence.
Yeah.
You can't do that at international level. Probably not. Well, definitely not. But yeah, it's to be involved in the attack and defence is. I was kind of the backs coach and the defence coach, so. Yeah, it was exciting times rugby-wise.
Did Did you find yourself leaning towards defense more than attack, or was it just like you just found it?
Well, that's what you have to do. That's a really good question, because what happens is, if you're not careful, everybody likes attack more, don't they? Everyone likes attack, and if I did coach attack and defence when Warren left for a couple of years at but what I always tended to do at the end of the season is concentrate on the defence, because everyone concentrate on because the attack, obviously, it's, it's a bit more glamorous, a bit more flashy, a bit more. It's great for everyone to see, but let's be honest, a lot of the big games are decided by defence.
Massively.
So I purposely trying to pull myself back from the attack towards the end of the seasons and just concentrate on the defence, because I knew there was a temptation to do the other to do the other way around.
Yeah.
To concentrate on the attack and not bother about the defence. And it kind of worked.
It definitely seemed to work for you, Shaun. Your results have proven that, hasn't it? So, one thing this is a little off script. Well, are you much of a reflector? Do you reflect much on how far you've come?
Yeah, but I only really remember the losses that we had. I don't really remember I remember the wins, obviously, and you get gratification in the fact that we did it right.
Yeah.
But the ones were, just lost. I remember as a player and as a coach, and I heard this great jockey. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but he was a fantastic, one of the best ever jockeys. And I heard him being interviewed, and he said, "I don't remember any of my victories. All I remember is my losses. When I lost, and I think I did something wrong." I was like, "Oh, thank God, it's not just me."
It's a great way to look at it. Like, you're not alone. But I think that's...
This guy's like the best jockey ever. He won this, won that. And he's like, all I think about is losses.
Yeah. This little pop went off. Thank God it's not just me on my own. Fair play, though. And is it one that you remember the most, Shaun, that one? Maybe for me, when I think about Wales, I think about that French game. When Sam Warburton, that tackle happened, I thought that year was probably the year for Wales to win the World Cup. That's when I think of that one.
Yeah, it was disappointing. The semi-final.
Semi-final, yeah. Not the final, yeah.
Well, it was disappointing as well that, with 14 players, did we score a try? We scored a try.
I think you were leading.
They didn't score a try. And they won that. Was it 9-8?
Something like that in the end, yeah.
And, it was a bit... Obviously, we only have 14 players for a lot of the game. Whether it was a sending off or not, obviously the referee thought it was. So. But yeah, that was. Is another. I've been in 4 World Cups. Obviously, not going to final yet. Semi-final twice, quarter-final to the eventual winners. Like, and total amount of points I've lost by is about 8 points.
Wow. So close.
2. There's 2. No, there's less than that. Might be 3. No, 8. Yeah. 2 3s and 1 and 2 1s.
It's close margins.
Well, that's what they say, and it's close at the top.
So you talk about the losses and the wins. Is that what drives you then? If you think to get that perfect, we're always chasing that perfect performance or that perfect win or that. Is it a World Cup that you're chasing?
Well, no, it's winning the next match. And our next match is against Japan, and then we've got the All Blacks again, and then we've got Argentina. So 3 huge matches for the French national team, and I tend just to concentrate on the next 2 or 3 matches or the next Six Nations. Luckily, recently I've been pretty okay in the Six Nations, and I think the last 6 years never been out of the top 2. Wales, and might be even 7 years with Wales, think became second first. Then with France became second like 4 times, I think 5 times, and won it once. So that's what people kind of don't forget. It's very, very good. The Six Nations is financially more important than most matches for even World Cups in a way, because the prize money is massive.
In Six Nations,
a lot of people don't know that.
Wow,
You didn't know it, did
no, not at all.
How much do you think you win for getting a Grand Slam?
I wouldn't even want to put maybe
6 million.
6 mil. I was about to say 1.5 for 6 mil.
5 million just for no Grand Slam, but you win the championship. 3.75 for coming second.
Wow,
it's big. I remember it's €400,000. So, like with France, the last 5 years we've never been out of the top 2. So obviously it's helped France FFR, to finance, the next project for the young players coming through extra, because everyone needs money.
100%.
You know what I mean? So that's what a lot of people don't really understand. I mean, even I didn't understand it up until about 10 years ago, and that's when I realised how important the Six Nations is. Even coming third to coming second, it's a big difference. Like talking 1 million and 1.25 million difference.
Mad. What is it in the World Cup? Would you know what it is to place?
I don't know what it is World Cup, because I've never won it. But the thing is, the World Cup's obviously you get more spin-offs but the actual prize money, I don't think it's anywhere near that.
No. So and this is every.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yeah.
So I need to, probably study it. But obviously, people would prefer to win the World Cup because of the spin-offs that you get, and people selling shirts and everything. And obviously, the respect you get worldwide. The Springboks have had over the last 2 years, and the two competitions before that was the All Blacks, obviously.
Yeah. I even remember 2003 when England won the World Cup. Yeah, that was massive. Yeah, like the growth of rugby union, even in our area, Wales, or in the UK in general, just massive. I think just what it does as a general public.
Yeah, totally agree.
With yourself now, how has France been?
Yeah, it's been very good.
Do you enjoy change?
Well, the change was forced upon me, really, and the fact that I think we were all the coaches would have stayed at Wales, but the CEO decided he was going to bring in a new team of coaches, which is fair enough. You know what I mean? As long as they're straightforward and upfront with you, that's fine. And then I was lucky because I was going to go to Wigan Warriors as head coach. But what happened there was I wasn't allowed to bring any member of staff in.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I wanted to bring in the strength and conditioning guy, head of strength and conditioning, which has always been paramount in all my teams I've been involved with. And unfortunately, it was supposed to be called in August, and December came up, and still no phone call, and then it was pretty obvious to me that I wasn't allowed to bring any member of staff in, and so for me that wasn't acceptable. And I decided to say I'm not going to go to Wigan.
Yeah.
Which was a big statement from me because, I was all set to go. Yeah. And I had nothing else to fall back on because everyone thought I was going to Wigan. Yeah. And just luckily for me is we won the Six Nations that year. We got a Grand Slam. And then I was getting offers from everybody.
I will.
Except Wales.
That mind boggles me, mate, to think that
I didn't get offers at the end.
No,
I got offers from after the Grand Slam. I got an offer from Wales, but I'd already agreed to go to France by that time. And the French FFR, they really backed me.
Good.
And they really backed me the first cycle, because you go in 4-year cycles. They really backed me in the first cycle, and then after we won the Grand Slam in 2022, and never been out the top 2, etc. The years before, 2 years before became second, and then won it first, and they give me another contract extension.
Amazing.
So these are people who are prepared to back me, and
that's what you want.
Believed in me. So So I decided to stay, and I'm obviously contracted till 2027.
Amazing. Fair play to you, Shaun. Like, to back yourself, I think, morals and respect are big things, and even if stuff comes
I've never
late,
ever done a contract
Mm.
as a coach.
Yeah, well, that's credit to you. That's loyalty to you. I think we all want that reciprocated, though, in other aspects. But as a Welsh person, and I think everyone in Wales, things we would do to have you back right now would be, throw the checkbook at you. But it is, I suppose, the saying, it is what it is. But you've done amazing things now in France.
Well, we've got a few more things to do. I mean, we need to continue our improvement, and hopefully, continue to be relatively successful in the Six Nations. But obviously, coming first is better than coming second.
Massively. How would I totally agree with that. How do you deal with a player? Like, I'm very much a big fan on trying to get the best out of people, if that's in life or in sports or whatever it is, Shaun. But A, you're speaking a different language. B, you're trying to go into a culture that's new to you. How do you really tap into someone? And I know rugby's rugby wherever you go, but still, that human connection sometimes is pretty vital for performance.
I try to give them some structural things that are what I expect from them, and write them down for 4 or 5 points of what I expect from them, and if they do that, if they execute and do those things, and they've had a pretty good defensive performance. So in the little cog in the wheel, they do they do it well. Obviously, très bien. Very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad you said it because I didn't know what it meant. I'm glad you is.
Rugby people are rugby people the world over.
Yeah.
In my estimations, but there is a little bit of cultural differences and stuff like that. But in the end, they're still rugby guys. You know what I mean? And they're still they still want to win.
Yeah.
They want to improve, and if you can help them improve together, they'll want to work with you.
That's a great thing, and I think your history alone, from my end, would demand respect. To be like, okay, from what you've done for yourself, though, you just getting to know you right now, I can tell straight away you're someone who's driven, has high expectations. How do you, as a guy who's won so much, grow as well? Where do you go to seek more growth and educate? Do you go away, meet people, or do you?
Well, I never stop working. I'm always watching, NFL on TV. I'm always watching even football. Reading about great players, great boxers. How they prepare for fights and stuff like that. So I'm never ever not working, even though I'm not always out on the pitch, obviously. So that's what I am. I am a rugby nerd. There's no doubt about that.
Just love it.
And I'm so lucky that what I love is also my job. Yeah,
that's an amazing thing. I think if people could live by that, they'd do something they love. And just obviously, your mum saying that thing to you as a young fella, I just think how far that's taken you now. If you investing in that moment.
Yep. She was pretty smart, my mum.
You over your career, and not career as a coach, there's been amazing times and there've been some tough times. How, as a coach, do you deal with the pressure?
Oh, mate, I get answered that about pressure a lot, and the thing is, I remember when I retired from playing, I didn't have a job for a year and a half. I found a job that I really wanted, and wasn't being offered jobs, and it was the worst year and a half of my life, to be honest, because I had no pressure on me whatsoever. All I had to do was go for a newspaper. So, yeah, give me pressure any day.
You love it. You love being under that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's more exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as well.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's obviously sometimes it's difficult when your probably team's not playing at its full potential, but that's kind of my job to make sure that they do, isn't it?
Definitely. Who would you say is one of your like guys you would guy who's the hardest worker? Someone guy you've worked with or coached and you've gone, yep.
There's loads of lads who are hard workers now because there's not many lads who have terrible, bad attitudes and that. But I think somebody everyone could relate to is Lee Halfpenny. He was a real grafter. You know what I mean? Doing his kicking, doing his stretching. Everything had to be just perfect for him, and that's why he was. He made himself into one of the best players in the world in his position. Which was obviously fullback. Yeah,
he was.
He came from wing at first, and obviously moved on to fullback and took over the goal kicking responsibilities. I remember that was away in Ireland, first in 2012, and he never looked back after that, did he?
No.
He was just a guy who could kick it from 50 metres as well. So that's a big thing, Distance of a kicker is vital as well.
With that when he took over, before that, I believe it was Lee Byrne there, wasn't it? And you had
Lee Byrne was fullback, yeah.
Yeah,
Lee Byrne was fullback, a very, very good fullback, but he wasn't a goal kicker, Byrne.
No.
But he had a fantastic left foot, which was brilliant in the 2008 campaign, where we was just kicking the ball down the field as long as possible, and defending, pushing up hard in defence, and obviously trying to keep them in their own half, and hopefully creating turnovers so we can capitalise with our attack.
Yeah, that's that team. I remember that year you played against. I don't know if it was your first year you went to Wales, but it was against Twickenham.
Yeah, it was the first match.
First match, yeah, and we went from losing to winning. And it was just like a
first time in 20 years we won at Twickenham, and obviously that was a big thing for Welsh rugby. And I always remember on the Monday, because you've got to remember, I've been living in London a long time with Wasps and all that, and you have your celebrations after winning victories, obviously, but because London's such a big, massive place, you don't really get that togetherness and people in the street, which has its positives and negatives, but it was. I remember we came back and we went to a restaurant on the Monday, and we walked in, and everyone stood up and started clapping. And it reminded me of being at Wigan, when we'd won the Challenge Cup or whatever, World Club Championship. And it reminded me, it was like living in Wigan again.
Wigan's so die-hard Wigan Warriors, aren't they? Like, I've gone through there when it was a Saints and Wigan game on last year. The pubs are jam-packed. They're like the chanting at it. It's like a football match. It's just, but to be a Wiganer, from Wigan and play for Wigan, it must be one of the best experiences ever. Just going out and,
like you say, very pressurised. Yeah, very, very pressurised. Particularly if you're in a good team.
Yeah,
and they are now. I mean, the brilliant team we've got now. Matty Peets, leader them brilliantly. Won the League Leaders Trophy last night.
Yeah.
I text Matty this morning. He's a great guy, great leader for Wigan, and he's got the guy, him and his coaching staff, who are absolutely brilliant. A lot of former players on the coaching staff as well, who are even like one guy's from New Zealand, but he's just got that Wigan heart and fight.
Who's that? Was it Tommy Luluai? Yeah. Probably
the best defensive scrum half I've ever seen in league or union. Antoine might push him close, but. In terms of tackling, what a defensive player.
Do you think though, like when you're saying about defense, you talk about small people because Anton is small, Tommy Luluai is small. Do you think though, if you get up hard, and this is where the blitz comes in again, it'll fluster a player so much that he's put under pressure, or you're just in his face straight away? Is that the concept behind the blitz with you?
Well, yeah, it's just to make them feel like they're suffocating. And obviously, the difference in union is that you can steal the ball. Even you can steal the ball one-on-one in league, but it doesn't happen a great deal. But yeah, I mean, the identity, the think of it is suffocate.
Well, look, Shaun, I know you've got a busy day. I know you've got a lot of talking to go. Been an absolute pleasure getting to know you. I'm very grateful for this opportunity because I'm sitting here with greatness, and I know that's probably weird to hear, but as a player, but as a coach, if anyone could have probably 10 minutes of your time to learn and listen to how you think and what it takes to suppose to become a great coach, and all the way from Wigan to the journey you've been on over to France, man, I'm very grateful to be having this opportunity for you. But one thing I always ask my guests is, what are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? Everything, really. It's even the challenges. Sometimes you have to say. Sometimes you can feel a little bit sorry for yourself if things are going wrong, and like we all do at times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to say, no, this is a challenge for me.
Yeah.
Try to turn it round and then obviously there's no feeling like having a challenge and thinking, you know what, I did all right there.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I always remember the Six Nations in 2013, and we got booed off against Ireland in the first game, and it was difficult. Obviously, we hadn't been playing well, and then we went to France, we went to Paris in the next game, and we beat them in Paris, and it's not really our place to win is the Stade de France, and then by the end of the tournament, we're playing England for the championship, and obviously the rest is history. But it just shows that it can turn, it can change, and it can change quickly. But you have to dig in, and you have to go through some pain. You have to go through some difficulties. You know what I mean? That's what life's about a little bit, isn't it?
Massively. And you just said then, I know I've just said what I've said, we're wrapping up, but one thing you've just said then about rugby, I think it's learning to detach from the emotional aspect of rugby, because sports is a roller coaster from Monday to Sunday. There's so many injuries, winning, loss, reflection.
Yeah, I saw that to the Wasps players when I was coach at Wasps. I'd say, when you go home, just forget about rugby. I couldn't do it. It was impossible for me to do it, but you can do it. So just let us worry about on the days off, stuff like that, or night time. Just let us coaches worry about the rugby, and you just come here totally motivated, ready to go during the time that we want you, thinking about rugby and acting in rugby.
Yeah, mate, absolute pleasure.
Oh, Paul, thank you.